The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 29th day of April 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Mediquels, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamel Hartman. She's Mia Shomari, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by People's. Happy Tuesday, Mia.
Happy Tuesday, Jamel. How are you?
I think I'm still hungover from two things: the pizza party at your house last night and the gala. How about you?
I know, yeah. I have positive vibrations. Been so many great things in the past 72 hours. The gala, pizza party.
I must say you've got the coolest kid in the house next to Maddox and Amelia, and we've got, I'm gonna talk to Taylor yesterday, man. Kids kind of gravitate toward me, but man, baby Emery last night at your house, it's like Uncle Jay is the coolest, boy. You heard her say that, right?
Yeah, she's super advanced. She's like, whoa.
Yeah. But
girls are gonna take over the world.
No, we've had a great time, and I think the fact that we're not normally in the same place, really helps. But how'd you like the gala? Like, did you have a good time?
Oh, I had the best time. I thought it was so well done. I loved the panel. I found that so interesting. I learned a lot from that. I just loved being with, all the TDH supporters and now I say community. That was really wonderful to meet so many people, because sometimes I just see their comments. But it's actually great to put faces to faces to the names of our TDH family. I loved Glenn's speech. I thought it was wonderful. The food was fantastic. The space was amazing. Jummy Chico's he's awesome. The space was wonderful. Nikki and Hazel, Tiffany, everybody did honestly, so much Bermudian excellence in the place, I have to say, all around.
Yeah. I mean, the food. Let me ask you guys a question. At a formal event, I'm just saying, you saw how I was eating last night. So at a formal event, I meet everyone's house. At a formal event, is it like bad to go for seconds and thirds and stuff?
I personally don't think so. Because I don't think so, especially when the food's that good.
I didn't go, but I was talking to someone there, and it's like, man, it was so good. I want to go for seconds, but I didn't want to look bad. I'm like, I thought about it, and I try to keep myself busy, so I didn't. But
you don't want to seem rude, and you want
to right. I didn't want to be that guy. I
think especially when you're the host, obviously it was the TDH event, so I think when you're the host, it's in poor taste to go back for seconds. I hate to say it. Even though the food was so good, so I can't blame you.
I definitely wanted more fish, but look, we had a great weekend, and good morning to you as well. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says good morning to family, and Suzanne Ingham says awesome Tuesday, Mia, Maya, and Jamel. Mia, you look extra fresh and ready to go this morning. Not that you don't look fresh every day. I like how she cleaned that up at the end, huh?
Thank you, Suzanne. I had a shower this morning. I worked out and had a shower.
So you don't have a shower? Oh, okay, got you, Mia.
I don't know. It just depends. I'm not like a morning shower or a nighttime shower. I have a shower, but obviously, I had a shower.
No one's business. Ain't nobody's business. I'm telling you whether I showed or not. But anyway, greetings everyone, and thanks for making this part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Shomari Talbot-Woolridge of Progressive Minds on the show. We're going to be discussing young people in politics. And those who are not familiar, Progressive Minds is the youth wing of the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party. By the way, the reason I say Bermuda before Progressive Labor Party is because there is another Progressive Labor Party. So I just want to make that distinction when I say it. Obviously, most of you know I'm talking about the PLP in Bermuda, but this is on the internet.
Yeah.
Right? The Daily Players, remember when? We had a fun one yesterday. All I'm going to say is this one today is going to reflect our discussion topic. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. We've got Kenton Trott says, I was so tempted to go back for seconds. I even talked to my wife about, see, Kenton? This is my boy. This is my brother. I guarantee you, like the goats that he wants, his wife's probably said, don't you dare, right? I bet, man, she's good people. She's good people. Michelle White says, going for seconds, watch the crowd and see if everyone is eating, then all bets are off for the rest of the people.
Michelle, that's what's up.
My people. Folks, before we get into the discussion, another one that Bermudians need to be a part of. I say that not because I care about my ego or Mia's ego or anyone's ego, but these community conversations that we're having are supposed to be brainstorming sessions amongst all of us. This morning's discussion, the question is very simple. What can we do to incentivize Bermudians to support local retailers? What can we do? And I want to just go to an article that was in the Royal Gazette yesterday. It says, build resilience now, retail leaders urge. All right. So the story reads, retailers should invest in local warehousing, diversify their suppliers, and boost local food production. That came from Tony Thompson, the chief executive of Gibbons Company at the Bermuda Chamber of Commerce members' annual meeting. He said, facing global instability due to proposed American tariffs, primarily on Chinese goods and ships, Mr. Thompson said retailers and the island as a whole should act before the disruptions get worse. Her considerations, he said, should we consider localized warehousing of key goods to reduce dependency on just-in-time shipping? Should we engage with regional suppliers in the Caribbean, Mexico, Canada, or even further to diversify supply chains? Are we doing enough to incentivize local food production? And should we seriously consider vertical farming? Let's stop right there. Let's stop right there, because let's be honest, Mia, and you have way more experience, understanding of the retail space. Let's just call it what it is, right? Yeah. You do. I am going to be speaking strictly from a shopper's perspective. Right. And most of the audience will probably do that as well. Mm-hmm. Audience, trust me, this is a brainstorming session. I don't think any idea is a bad idea. But again, what can we do to incentivize Bermudians to support local retailers? But also this one. Should the government eliminate all taxes for local retailers? And I mean all taxes. That's from payroll to duty, you name it. Should the government eliminate all taxes for local retailers? Yes or no? Take it away, Mia.
Wow. Well, I mean, I read Tony's article actually a few times. And of course, Tony is a friend of mine. We actually have like a retail, community where we all are like on a WhatsApp group together and we speak together. So, I really thought a lot of what he said was really valuable. And I do think that there needs to be a reflection back to farming. So he did speak about that, sustainability, farming, something that actually is talked about a lot, but I think we're not doing much about it, or we're not really prioritizing it. So I do really think that we need to prioritize our food security, step one. And then in regards to retail, so from our perspective, obviously, because for those of you who don't know, my mom and I own the boutique Casine on Reed Street, 25 Reed Street. And we also have a website. But we actually secure a lot of our goods from Europe because of their sustainability laws, their environmental laws. So we actually don't bring in that much through the United States, but that is obviously a rare case. I think the majority of our goods, et cetera, come from the United States. So I think we do need to look to partner with places that are closer, like Canada, Mexico, the Caribbean. I actually think outside of just doing things like these tariffs, it's actually just smart to have better partners and potentially more financially stable, or just like a cheaper option for, or and better goods potentially. So I think it's a really smart idea. I think we need to really prioritize it. As far as tax goes, Jamal, I don't think we should eliminate all tax, to be honest. I mean, that would be the dream. That's not real. But I do think that from a customs duty perspective, that there should be a customs duty tariff or code for people who are operating businesses. So, and then there should be a code for people who are just bringing in the odd thing from overseas. So I think like you should have a different code to me, and then my code should be less. Less. Obviously, we should be getting charged less so that we can then pass those savings on to the customer, and then that incentivizes people to shop locally. So that's my.
And honestly, that was one unbiased perspective that you shared, in my opinion, from a local retailer. Because me, I'd have been like, get rid of all taxes. That's but I think I appreciate your objectivity, and you know there are some saying that may say, well, no, I didn't think, but you could have had a very narrow process on that. And I appreciate what you shared in terms of you're already using Europe because of their sustainability laws and the like. The challenge is, I think, culturally, our biggest trading partner, because of convenience, has been the United States. I appreciate seeing so many people, including Tony Thompson, saying Canada, Mexico, the Caribbean. But also, what I found interesting is creating local warehousing spaces so that they can have that. Like, I appreciated that. I really did. But from an incentive perspective, Bermudians shop overseas for so many different reasons. Like Michelle White says here, they're always looking for variety. Now, as a retailer, Mia, when I went into Casino for the first time, I saw things I hadn't seen in other places. So for me, there was a variety. But when people say that, like, as a retailer, like, okay, but we do have variety. Have you been into the store? Well, like, what goes through a retailer's mind?
Well, I'll tell you, it's really interesting because we obviously have a very small boutique, and we try to have as much variety as we can within the store. But of course, we have to keep our overheads. So we're not a charity, so we have to keep our overheads down, or we try to just be as mindful as we can to keep the business operational. So what actually would be incredible is if we had less to pay, right, from a government perspective, or from taxes and duty and all of that. And then, Jamal, people would be incentivized to come and shop locally. By the way, we have a website. You can shop online anytime, and we do next day island-wide delivery. Okay, so that eliminates that right there. Oh, I can't get away from my desk, or I work in Somerset, or whatever. So we have that right off the bat. We've always had that. That's been part of our business model from the beginning. So businesses need to come and step up, and they need to do a lot more to obviously cater to customers locally. So that's number one. So I take the onus there. Number two, if we were able to get tax breaks, then we'd be able to lower our costs. More people would be incentivized to shop local. I would be able to have a bigger store, hire more Bermudians, and there'd be more variety. That's it. That's it. I want to expand. I want to have my businesses. Like, I'm an entrepreneur to my core. There's just a lot of different variables that people don't think about. And I certainly didn't until I became a business owner.
Indeed. Well, Suzanne Ingham says, yes, eliminate all products from Slack. We is all struggling. I like Europe for what Mia is saying about Europe. They don't have a lot of poisons in their foods like the US. Well, yeah, I've learned this. Michelle White says, if retailers increase their variety and limit the number of sizes clothing, it would create frenzy if the item is popular. I see her point. No, don't remove all taxes, but change the percentage format. I think that's what Mia was suggesting as well. WKD Lama said, eliminate taxes comes at a cost. Which government service do you want to eliminate? Well, I only posed that question for this reason.
Exactly.
There's 3 letters, CIT.
Mm.
If the government is so confident in CIT making a dent in the economy, then people like retailers who are struggling, maybe we can, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to come at a cost if we have that expected big revenue. Does that make sense? Like, you get me?
Oh, it does completely. And it's interesting, Jamal, because I think people think that, well, first of all, if they're so confident in the CIT, then they should be able to cut some costs and then use the CIT to support all of the things that they would have maybe had to eliminate of services, for example. And that's why my answer was what it was, because I don't want people to suffer. I don't want programs to get eliminated. I don't want, for example, education to have less because our taxes are eliminated. I don't want that to happen, of course. But what I do really, really strongly want to say is I want to empower local customers to shop local and to keep the money in our local economy. And we are really doing our absolute best to keep the prices, with the shipping and all the things that we have going on. And obviously we hire all Bermudians. I've had loads of young Bermudians come through, maybe their first job. There's so many different reasons, especially Gibbons Company. Think about how many people work there, your nanny, your grandma, your first job. There's just so many different reasons why you should shop locally. But it would be amazing to have some incentivization for people to do so, more based on price sensitivity. Absolutely.
I didn't realize that when Trimminghams closed, lost 220 jobs in the economy. That's insane. We missed a comment. Misha, Senator Fabulous says, switch from duty to VAT or some other type of point of sale tax. Yeah.
I think that's actually really interesting, Misha, and it's something that I've actually just discussed amongst retail groups myself, and I think Craig Simmons said it on the show, and I thought that was a brilliant idea, because then we don't have to pay all of this money up front. I mean, yesterday I paid a customs duty. It was like $2,000. I almost passed out, so these are the type of bills that retailers are incurring. So instead of having to pay that up front, then if we were to kind of put it in the pricing at the point of sale, then that actually would create a lot more fluidity and a lot more ability to be able to do things with pricing, et cetera. So it's a great idea. I really like it. Like the idea. I think it's a brilliant one.
Yeah. Misha Fabulous says loyalty programs could help boost repeat customers. Well, but don't some retailers have loyalty programs? I believe People's Pharmacy has one.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so I'm gonna be look. You all know Teo calls me old. I am a bit old, right? And the truth is, and I'm going to be very vulnerable in saying this. I'm going to use Target for instance. I've been shopping at Target for years. I only signed up earlier this year for their thing, and I don't even really go there. They're
their loyalty program, right?
Same with Whole Foods and Sprouts. I've been shopping grocery stores, Publix in the South. I'd been shopping there for years, and only recently in the last year signed up. For me, I was that guy who, when Uber first came, no, I'm good with my taxis. Right? I'm not one to jump on something when it's new. I'm gonna be real with you.
Okay,
right?
that's fair.
That's my nana in me. You feel me? And I say that because Bermudians traditionally have been like that. Not younger, but Bermudians in our generation and older. How do we convince them that loyalty programs make sense? Because sometimes, I don't want people having my information. I don't want to get emails, and you get me?
Okay, I do. So now it actually seems we've come to a place where people, because we are shopping now since the invention of the internet, we've now come to a place where people aren't actually shy to give their information. They know it's just part of the checkout process. So we actually take that option in our own hands. If you shop with us, you actually just get automatically signed into our loyalty program. That doesn't mean you are automatically signed up to our newsletter. We ask you if you'd like to opt in. That's a choice if you'd like to or not. No feelings hurt. If you want to hear about Cassine, great. If you got 1 million newsletters clogging up your inbox, that happens to me. So I totally understand. But we actually have taken that on ourselves, taken the onus And it's whenever you sign up to receive your email receipt, you actually get automatically put into our loyalty program. And it's so nice because sometimes like I'll, it comes up and I'll put the person's name in, like, let's say like Linda Smith, for example, or Michelle White. Hey, Michelle, actually today you've got $25 off your order today. Would you like to claim your loyalty points? And it's a beautiful moment of surprise. And it really connects you with your customers. It's wonderful. We've had our loyalty program since the beginning of Cassine. So it's a great idea, and it's something that we do.
Yeah, you're helping me. And I'm going to share something that a lot of people probably don't know after I read this comment. Kenton Trott says, local retail is definitely difficult, and I try to support. I owned a children's clothing store years ago, and the overhead was astounding. So I owned a children's clothing store as well back in 2010. My mom ran it, and the overhead was a killer, right? I also realized something very fast. I owned a couple businesses many years ago. In my opinion, they failed, not because we lost money, but because they did not do what we intended to do. And at that point, I realized I'll use Mia, for instance. When I look at Mia and she talks about her business, she is passionate about the environment and sustainability, and she's incorporated it into her business. I'm passionate about this media space. And I realized you have to have a certain love for the space you're in. And retail is a tough space. And if you're going to be in it, you have to believe in what you're doing. So, Kenton, I get it. Overhead, it's going to be a killer.
Absolutely.
Let's go through some comments, Mia. So I mentioned CIT earlier. Charles H. Jeffs II says, CIT needs to fill the hole that we are in. The burden of our debt hinders us from doing anything that's progressive as we would like. Indeed.
Especially in the agricultural space, I think it would really assist with that.
Yeah. Misha Fabulous says, with POS, that's point of sale tax, I believe, also wouldn't need to pay tax on product that doesn't sell.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's a brilliant, Misha, you can make that happen now in your position.
Yeah, come on, Misha.
Right.
Greg, you work on
it. Right?
Pardon?
That makes sense to you, right?
Oh, well, when Craig said it a couple of weeks ago on the show, I thought it was it kind of hit me like a lightning bolt. I think it's brilliant. Yes, I think 100%. That would be amazing. Even something small as that. That would be awesome. So, Misha, we're going to pass that over to you. And I'm happy to be on a committee to help, by the way.
Charles H. Jeffs II says, I just realized the other day that People's has a loyalty program. Many retailers need to push it more. I'm going to ask something right now, since we're having a community conversation, and People's is a partner of this show. Charles said he just found out. How many people in the audience knew that People's had a loyalty program? Yes or no? Did you know that People's? Be honest. Did you know that People's had a loyalty program?
No.
Mia, that's a no. Okay. Audience, did you know that People's had a loyalty program? I'll be honest with you. I knew, obviously, but I don't know what businesses do or don't. I honestly don't know what businesses do or don't. So let's see. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says yes, he knew. Y'all are coming fast. Hold on. WKD Lama said no. Kathy Ann Penna said yes. Janet Maynard said yes. NTS said no. We've got a yes from Lydia Simmons, a yes from Stacey Ann Brown, yes from Jewel Eve, a no from Miss Ellen Kate Horton, a yes. I knew People's did Canton. Angela Dill said yes. Yes, Marquita Lee. Of course, said Valerie Lister Bassett. Yes, from Rosalind Famous. Yes, from Isha Fabula. Okay, so majority yes. For years, says Ariane Hudson. No. Richard Scott says, yes, the cashier asks if you want to be a part of it. Look at that cashier is doing their job. All right, so now I'm going to ask another question. Okay. So we know I want to see how many people are like me, Mia.
Okay.
You know how they say, oh, you want to join? And I'm like, oh, not today. Like, that's my line. Like, because I just want to leave. How many people in the audience are loyalty members of people? And again, I'm picking on people since we're talking about them, but how many people are actually members of their loyalty program? Michelle White says yes, use it all the time. Marquita Lee said joined years ago. Okay.
Right. I need to join.
Man, you all making Mia feel bad. So Mia's gonna become a People's member this week. She's gonna be a People's loyalty member. All right, Mia, we'll obviously finish a bit later. We've got Maya to come in, and we've got Shomari, Talbot-Woolridge to come up. But we have this conversation's ongoing, man. We have a retail problem.
Yeah.
I'm gonna liken it to what we spoke about at the panel the other night. At the panel the other night, we were talking about media, and one of the things we were talking about at the pizza party last night. We had a pizza party at Mia's. You all weren't invited. I'm sorry. I mean, look, I was lucky.
He can only make so many pizzas. He was working hard in the kitchen.
What's your kitchen called? Gregorio's
Pizzeria.
Gregorio's Pizzeria. But what I say is, when we're talking about media, I said to these guys last night that if you've ever been to a court case, what you experience in the courtroom and what you read or hear in the news is not the entire picture. The same with the gala, like you saw comments, oh, they didn't touch on this. They actually did. But the reporter doesn't have the space to share everything.
Of course not.
How am I comparing that to retail? Very simple. The same way how I said yesterday that government probably should incentivize companies to spend local advertising dollars instead of with Google.
Yeah.
See, advertising to me is very different. I think social media has us warped. And here's what I mean by that. It's what I said to Rick Olson the other day when he spoke about you've got Google and YouTube and all these places. Why advertise locally? Advertising is not about how many eyes you get on your product. And I think we've fallen for that. Advertising is actually what Cassine does. It's about connecting with an audience. When I see ads on YouTube, I don't know about you all, but when I see ads, I'm not inspired. When I see ads, I'm annoyed because I just want to watch my video. It's about connecting with your community. And I think social media has made us believe that the more eyes, the better, folks.
It's true. And can I just say quickly, Jamal, just to pump up local media. So I get way more customers from when I go on things like the Daily Hour or when I go on local radio. That is connecting. After I go on the radio, I'm telling you, we have like such a busy day.
But that's because you're connecting with the community. One thing I appreciate about this audience, and I'm upset with you for not inviting you to the pizza. I'm sorry. Look, you could have took Maya's space. Maya didn't show up, and Larry. So you could have come in their space. They played hooky, but we had a blast last night. But there you go. Ariana Hudson says, cannot wait to press skip. Ads on YouTube and Google, in my opinion, don't help Bermudian companies. They don't. But because they get these reports and they show they had this amount of viewers on it, they're going to keep doing it.
I agree. And can I say also that there's brain rot in regards to shopping online overseas, because doing a thing like Amazon or et cetera, that's not helping the Bermudian economy. I mean, it is in some ways, but it's not really. It's
minimal. It's minimal in terms of it helps a shipping company here and there. Real quickly. So Richard Scott says, no, oftentimes in a hurry to register. So he hasn't got his people's membership. Somerset people, I tell you. We've got, yes, I'm a loyalty member at People, says Renee Simmons. A St. George's fan says, Charles, I've never had a cashier that asked me if I want to join. You getting people in trouble, Charles. But he said, I saw a sign but didn't join.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we're not reading any comments from Charles anymore. We've got who made the crust? Nicole was asking about the pizza.
So before we get into the pizza, I will tell you, Nicole, if I wanted to just say, if anybody has any brilliant ideas on how local retailers can incentivize Bermudians to shop local, I'm here for it. I'd love to talk more about it. Please drop comments. I want to know. Like, I'm so passionate about Bermuda and the retail space. And I'm also passionate about pizza. And James actually makes all our pizza from scratch. He's got like a recipe that we went to Italy and we did like a pasta making course when I was 6 months pregnant, and then that spawned Gregorio's Pizzeria. Yeah, Baby Moon. Yeah.
But folks, I gotta add, they accommodated me because Charles is probably wondering, oh, Jamal had a salad on bread. No, I had vegan cheese. All right. Thanks again to Titan Express and Secure Trucking. We've got Maya coming up after this.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com. your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And securebda.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, MP. How are you?
Feeling pretty good this morning. You know, starting to feel like, I'm in Bermuda.
We missed you last night.
Yeah, I had some work obligations I totally forgot about with Noah's Ark and had to get there.
Well, you know what? I ate your share anyway, so it's all good. But, MP, you support local retail because you're a thrifter, aren't you?
I'm a thrifter, and I'm also a local shopper, local buyer. Like even I went to the egg show, and I wonder how everyone's experience was at the egg show. I spoke to a couple of vendors, but I was really hoping for a better turnout, but it didn't look like it when I was there.
No.
But I went to Windreach and I bought a couple of things at the egg show from Windreach specifically. And there was a couple other people there too. I supported Barclay Institute too. Like I just wanted to buy from, local supplies.
Maya, can I just say, I was so surprised. I didn't really know that there was going to be retail at the Ag Show, but I didn't go this year because I had to work. But Gunnar, my son, actually came home and he had bought things from local retailers that were there. I was so proud of him. I was so proud.
Nice. Gotta love him. So, MP, what you got for us today? Give it to us.
All right, so good morning, everyone. This is your Daily Hour news break brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. And a reminder that they are also open an hour later every day of the week, but also the gift and greeting card section is fully stocked for Mother's Day, which is May 11th. So it's right around the corner. So definitely want to pop in there as well, use your loyalty points and get something for your moms. All right, so heading into our news break this morning, a bit serious as we touch into some things that are happening from the throne speech that are coming into fruition quite soon. But give you a little bit of background and some data right now. Between April and December of 2024, the Women's Resource Center received 50 reports of abuse, 5 cases of harassment, and 205 requests for legal assistance. Backing it up, in the 2025 throne speech, the PLP government mentioned that they were going to set up a dedicated domestic court. And recently they have expressed that they are nearing the launch date. The plan includes developing training programs for judicial officers, law enforcement personnel, and support service providers. Now, the domestic violence court will emphasize timely intervention with a focus on accelerating access to protection orders and support services for victims. I went back and I looked at some of the data. A lot of it was given by Safe Lives Bermuda survey that happened in 2022, but a couple of it shows some pretty staggering statistics. I'll show it to you here, and I'll also provide some background as well as these images come forward. So the first I was looking at was that in 2023, reports based on WHO research and Bermuda's adult female population of approximately 27,700, it's estimated that 27% of women in Bermuda, that's over 7,000 people, will experience intimate partner violence or abuse in their lifetime. And also with more statistics growing from that, they also mentioned that government further estimated that back in 2023, that more than 3,000 women experienced such violence in just the last 12 months. But it's not just women, because according to this 2022 Safe Lives Bermuda survey, 13% of men will also experience domestic abuse at some point in their lives. Now, last year, Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Senator Kim Wilkerson said that the number of domestic violence protection orders have actually also increased. They said that in 2022, it was 91 protection orders. In 2023, there was 80 protection orders. And between January to November of 2024, there was 140 protection orders. So how will the introduction of this court help to decrease these alarming statistics? The Center Against Abuse has expressed strong support and enthusiasm for the establishment of a specialist domestic abuse court in Bermuda. Now, Lori Shield, who's the executive director order of CAA and is pictured in the middle of this photo, has been advocating for the court for over a decade and believes it will be beneficial, explaining that it will provide consistent standards for domestic abuse cases, increased safety for victims within the courtroom settings, a unified court for both criminal and civil domestic abuse matters, improved monitoring on offenders, court order programs for offenders, and expedite criminal court trials as well. But some key details about domestic violence cases and the whole court still remain a bit unclear. We don't know how much it will cost to operate, what's the timeline for training the judicial officers, and how many will be trained, and how often will the court actually sit and process these cases. And critically, how are we measuring success in actually reducing the harm and delays for survivors? So today on Newsroom, we'll be contacting the ministry and your organizations to provide an updated full story for you next week.
Thank you for that, Mama. And props to Rachel. She was at the gala, and we have been in talks. I feel like I'm telling my team a lot of stuff live when I'm telling you, but we've been in talks to make this a part of our program on a regular basis to speak about this, because as Maya has reported, and Teo as well, numerous occasions, this is something that is overlooked in our community until it happens. And even when it happens sometimes, just because it doesn't seem extreme, and when I say extreme, like leading to a murder or something, or actual court case where people are named, we think it doesn't exist. This is a problem in our community, and I echo this, and I was happy to see her. To me, she's already a part of the PDH family. She's an amazing advocate fighting for those experiencing domestic abuse. So thank you for that story.
Indeed, yeah, it's a bit of detail here and there, and I just want to get even more insight on just like, again, how is this court going to sit? I think that's like the vital one, like how often and how many cases are already like on the back pile as well that need to come forward and be processed through. And also what's been going on now within the courts that even needed this to be happening. Why wasn't this already established? Mm-hmm. So meanwhile, before I close out with your weather this morning, from CBS News, a massive and sudden power outage plunged much of Spain and Portugal into darkness on Monday. So just yesterday, disrupting transportation, communications, and obviously just the daily lives of millions. The blackout, which began around midday, left major cities like Madrid and Lisbon without electricity, halting subway systems, grounding flights, and causing widespread international outages. Some people even just sleep on the floor of airports like there was nothing. And the leaders of these countries are saying, don't go on your phones unless it's an emergency, like don't use them as little as possible as you can. So there's a video that came from BBC with energy experts kind of talking about this outage and what the effects are and what it kind of reminds us about how fragile we live in society.
We just had a press conference from Pedro Sanchez, the Spanish Prime Minister, just before we started recording this episode of Newscast on Monday tea time. And he said it's best not to speculate about the causes of this. And Keith, as a responsible academic, you will not want to contribute to misinformation or dodgy theorising. But just looking back the last few years, there have been power outages of this scale elsewhere. What were some of the causes of those?
Yeah, I mean, there's usually something of this scale somewhere in the world every year. And the causes vary sometimes where there is involved. I mean, in a sense, it just reminds us of something we should already know, that society is fundamentally dependent on electricity now. And it's not just to do with, decarbonisation or electrification. It's been this way for years and years. But, the kind of the use of digital systems, like you say, cashless payments, the way we're so dependent on communications. The old landline was still dependent on electricity supplies, but maybe they were kind of vulnerable in different ways. But it just reminds us of what we already knew.
The part that Maya said before we shared that clip about people being asked not to use their phones. Man, Bermudians live in their phones right now. Could you imagine the government telling us, oh, can't go easy on your phones right now. We need as much as you will. Got discipline.
The first thing you'll probably see is a tweet saying, I can't beat the ton us to get off.
Yeah, like, you know what it is. Like, oh, what's this? March 2020 all over again? Come on. We don't have it in us. We don't have it. But that's interesting because when stuff like that happens, I don't know how you guys' minds work, but the first thing in my mind is, okay, how did it happen?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't quite know.
Yeah.
They're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I read that it was maybe a weather incident or something. I don't know, but maybe that's not.
There were a couple of speculations. Yeah. Weather was also mentioned in this report here they're talking about, but they also said like it could be something so small that they just haven't found yet. And because our like electricity networks, like we do partner and we share a lot of it with like different countries or different places. So in their sense with Spain and Portugal, something small could have happened here and it affected millions. Same way something could happen here on our island, one little snip or something, and then there goes a whole parish. Like, everything's so connected that it could literally be anything. So still waiting on why.
Okay. How's the weather looking today?
Cloudy starts with possible light showers, then turning sunny. So hopefully later in the day, we get a lot of sun coming through. I feel like it's really cloudy right now outside. It's looking a little dreary, but hopefully it'll pick up a lot better. Might be a little bit of windy winds as well coming through, but we'll have a high of 70 today.
All righty, Mia, what we got for, what's it called?
Days of the year.
Days of the year, sorry. I really forgot. I'm sorry. My apologies.
Today is International Dance Day. Woo-hoo! See me do my mom dance? Point to God.
I can't even do that.
I was going to ask you, Jamel, can you line dance?
So, remember I asked you guys, Bermuda hasn't caught on, but in Atlanta, the big dance is that, you know, what's it called? I asked you guys in the group a couple weeks ago. Is it called 803? Audience, help me out. That big is the most popular thing in the United States right now.
Okay.
Look in the TDH group. I just asked you guys like 2 weeks ago, and Sherry was like, audience, help me out. And they use a fan. Anyway, you go out in Atlanta, and my Bermuda self looking there just watching everybody, because I'm like, what is it? That's it. Thank you. Were they fans? Yes, it's called Boots on the Ground. You guys don't know that one? That's like the most viral dance right now in the United States. Richard Scott knows what I'm talking about. Anyway, in saying that, I'm like, I've got 2 left feet. I can't do that. You guys know it though? You know it?
No.
I don't know it.
I need to check it out though. I love a little dance.
Now, I'm proud the audience knows it. So, you know what? You know what? We should have did the Boots on the Ground dance. Well, you all should have did it at the gala.
I know.
Yeah,
that would have been smart. We could go do something like crazy, like what's it called? Whenever all of a sudden everyone's acting normal, flash mob.
Oh yeah. All right. So I'll take video of you guys while you do it. Yeah.
Imagine that'd be so fun.
Yeah. Boots on the Ground. That's what. So
we're just in Lingo's medical house. BAC
dance
to start like flash mobbing People's Pharmacy.
Oh, that's what we want to do, Maya. That's some content for you. I can't participate. You look. I'll pull a hamstring. Trust me. Maya, we'll see you soon.
See you soon, guys.
But Maya, you have to go check out the Boots on the Ground.
I'll look at it. But I want to do ballroom dancing. That's my intent.
Ooh, yeah.
I want to learn that so badly.
What's ballroom dancing? Is that like
the waltz? Like
elegant.
Yeah.
Oh, ain't nothing elegant about me. All right. Talk to you soon, MP.
Bye.
All right. Folks, we're going to say, that's what I'm talking about. They say, we're them fans, and they go, yeah. You got to watch it. Honestly, folks, check out Boots on the Ground. It is the dance in the United States of America right now. We're going to take a break. We've got Shomari Talbot-Woolridge coming up with his Boots on the Ground. Stick with us. We're talking about progressive minds. We'll be back soon.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high-quality functional products can be stylish and comfortable at the same time?
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Attention home renovators and design lovers, your dream space starts here. The brand new Kohler retail showroom at BAC Group is now open, bringing you up to 35% savings on all Kohler products at U.S. manufacturer suggested retail prices. That means no extra fees, no freight, no wharfage, no duty, no document processing fees, just pure cutting-edge Kohler design at unbeatable value. From sleek kitchen and bathroom faucets, vanities, toilets, to statement sinks, walking tubs, and spa-worthy bathtubs, BAC brings innovation and luxury within reach. Visit the BAC showroom on Mill Creek Road today for style, quality, no surprises. Just color from BAC.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Mia Chambray, I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Before we go into bringing our guest in, I'm going to ask you all, like I asked yesterday, right? One of the biggest challenges for local media is social media and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. And the way algorithms work is I have so many people that come up to me, congratulations on 5 years, but I don't get notifications, and I follow, I like, and whatnot. The way it works is if Mark Arthur C. Phillips is always asking in the audience, hey, make sure you give us a thumbs up or like. The reason we do that is because that's how you beat the algorithms, right? Social media is a pay-to-play game, folks. It's a pay-to-play game. So in order for us to beat the algorithm so that you and your family and friends know that we exist, you've got to like, you've got to follow, you've got to share. If you want to be a part of these community conversations, then you have to engage. That's why we do it. Trust me. It's not because I want you to like me. Yeah, that doesn't matter. All right, without further ado, we've got a special guest in the house. And also, audience, you don't want to miss today's Daily Play. Like yesterday, Bermuda trivia question. This is a remember when, but it's about Bermuda, and it reflects the discussion this morning. All right. So without further ado, let's bring our guest for the day. He was a constituent. He ran a candidate, for constituency 9 in the last general election, representing the Bermuda Progressive Labour Party. And he is the on Progressive Minds, which is the Bermuda Progressive Labour Party youth wing. And we're going to be talking about the work they do and the connection they have to encourage young people to stay and get involved in politics. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to Shomari Talbot-Woolridge. All right. Calm down. He's been here.
Audience worked up this morning.
Yeah. He's been here before. They're acting like they've never seen. How are you, sir?
How are you?
I think I'm okay. I mean, my boots are on the ground all the time. I don't really dance in them, but apparently I need to learn to dance. Do you know the dance?
I don't know the dance. I've seen it, but I don't know it.
Oh, okay. So you're in the spectator seats with me. Okay, cool. We're good. Well, let's jump into the combo. I just explained that you've been on the show before. You've run as a candidate in the last general election for the Bermuda Progressive Labour Party. But for those who may just be tuning in and probably don't follow politics, remind them of who you are and your role within the Bermuda Progressive Labour Party.
So once again, good morning, and thank you guys for having me. My name is Shomari Talbot-Woolridge. I am the chairman of Progressive Minds, which is the youth wing of the PLP, and I was the candidate that represented the PLP and the people of Smiths West in the general election. I was unsuccessful, but since then we have had community clinics and some canvassing going on, so we have been consistently out there, and I've helped a few constituents with some pressing matters that they have. One constituent, I helped them get reimbursed a whole lot of money. So the work still continues, and doing some good work within the PLP now to bring more young people into the political process, and gearing up for the next election in terms of a lot of the things that we as young people wanted. Now is the time to advocate for those things to get done. So that's a lot of what we're doing right now.
And You said part of the youth wing as well. What is the youth wing Progressive Minds, and remind us of your role in it?
So, like I said, I'm the chairman. So I'm the de facto leader of the youth wing, even though I have my executive team that works alongside me. And what we do, our biggest thing is trying to educate and bring young people into the process. Even, of course, we want them to be a part of the party, but of course, we want them to be and find their niche and where they best fit into this whole world of politics. Maybe they want to be a part of the PLP, and maybe they're good with comms and communications, and they want to be a PRO, and we try to guide them to that role and to wherever can best is best for them, and brings out their strengths. And then of course we push for the things that we want to see as young people. Our party, last time I came here, I admitted that our party was, I think, was 8% of the party was under the age of 35. I believe that was the statistic. And our job now is to make sure that we, as young people, ensure that our vision, our goals, our policy goals, they're met, and the party is reflected that.
Did you just say 8% or 80%?
8% are under the age of 35. I don't know what the statistic is now a year later, but I know that we've had a lot more young people into the party. But that's just a testament to the work that we have to do as a party to ensure that we reflect what young people want in our country.
Well, speaking about what people want, I mean, what are some of the biggest issues young people in Bermuda are talking about right now, and how is Progressive Minds helping to give them a voice?
Well, I think the biggest issue that young people may not be on front of everybody's mind today, but during the election, it was, of course, absentee voting and wider electoral reforms that we have been talking about. We had the new Minister of Cabinet Office and Digital Innovation, the Honorable Diallo Rabin, at our first meeting post-election. And that was the first thing that we wanted to jump on. So we talked about absentee voting. What does that look like? We talked about different electoral reforms. We talked about automatic voter registration. And that's something I'm pushing, that when people go to TCD, just like you have the option to become an organ donor, just under that, you have the option to register to vote. So we are engaging with the minister on that issue, and continue to have that dialogue with him when it comes to not just absentee voting, but broader electoral reforms across the board.
Indeed. Thank you.
Amazing. Hi, Shomari. Good morning. Well, good morning. So kind of leaning into what you were just speaking about, you obviously just had a meeting, you were talking about voting and all of that. But how involved is youth wing in shaping actual party policy? Do you think that your voices are being heard by senior leadership?
Well, I think this is another thing that we talked about last time that I was here. And it was around the same time that Taj had put out his article saying he felt like he wasn't as heard. And I think there has been a lot of evolving within the party. Of course, and I felt some of what Taj has felt before as young people. Sometimes our perspectives are not taken as serious. And like I said before, this is not unique to the PLP. This is across organizations. But I think that after seeing the rollout of the platform and the amount of young people that spearheaded that platform in terms of bringing it together, I think the influence that we have is building. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's slowly building and progressing. And a lot of the policies that we have in the platform reflect that. And of course, it's not going to be easy. There are points of contention, and you don't win every challenge that comes up. But we have continued to just stay the course, build our, I want to say, name recognition, or build our trust that people have with us, that we are heard, not just to be a part of the party, but also know that we are influential within the party. So that would be it is a long road, but we have had a lot of influence and a lot of inroads that we have made.
I love that. And as a young person, I think that's a hard lesson to learn, that things take time. Great trees started from small seeds, and also as someone in my 40s, I also, it reminds me that, greatness takes time. So what are some areas where you feel the PLP or actually Bermuda as a whole could be doing more to support young people?
Well, I think the first thing that I think we as young people want to see in Bermuda is more innovation, more technology, more things that, more modernization of not just the technology, but just the way that the government conducts itself, the modernization and digitalization of the government. In that same meeting, talk about absentee voting. We talk about digital IDs, which is something that could help the government do a lot of things more efficient and effectively. A lot of the times when we go get a passport, same building that you get the passport, you get your birth certificate. Why can't you just send it upstairs? Instead of back and forth, coming to town, maybe I don't work in town, things like that. I think a lot of Bermudians, because of the lack of innovation and things like that, especially young people, it makes us frustrated. It makes us feel like we're so behind the times. And of course, we love to travel and we see different experiences in other places around the world. So that's another thing, same minister, cabinet, and digital innovation, that he is really fostering a lot of things with planning and whatnot, where he is pushing that in order to make our country more innovative. And I think that creates a ripple effect to industry and businesses and other aspects of our country.
I couldn't agree more with that, Shomari. And I think, Jamal always said, he said it the other night at the gala, and it's something that I believe both with the Daily Hour family and with my own personal business, that I love youth. I really support, young people. They have such great minds. They have so much innovation. They're phenomenal. Even yesterday, I worked on a project, and one of my staff members, she just took it over and did it. I would have taken me probably 3 weeks. It took her 3 hours. So what would you say, though? I found during the election, I was talking with a lot of, because I said my team is Bermudian and they're all like 25 and under. And they're very well versed in politics, and we have lots of great conversations. But what would you say to young Bermudians now? I would go other places and start engaging with young Bermudians, and they would say, politics doesn't affect me, or I'm not registered to vote. They just don't have any interest in the process at all. What would you say to a young Bermudian who has those kind of feelings?
I don't think it's just young people. I think it's across the board that people are losing trust in the institutions in democracy across the board. And I think you see that in countries around the world where people are not feeling like they have that buy-in and that connection, not just to politics, but many organizations that may not seem innately political, but still have a role in our democratic process, where young people are distrustful of those institutions. But I think that in order for me, in my my journey, I want to be influential. I don't want to be able to sit on the sidelines and complain or express my discontent with a situation. I would rather come in and try to change it and see how far I can make that change. And I think as a young person, I need other young people, like-minded young people, to come and help me, because the more people, the less work. So it's about distrusting these institutions, but I think that we as young people have to take up the mantle to understand that these institutions are supposed to be bequeathed onto us, and we're supposed to, in kind, run them as we see fit. That may be contrary to what it was back then, or it may be similar to what it was. It might be some things that we didn't like back then that we're going to take forward, or things that we liked back then that we're going to continue. But it's up to us to take up the mantle and be more active citizens in our society, so that the things that we want can come into fruition.
As I listened to you, and it made me think of, when I was young, probably a bit younger than you are now, I was heavily involved in the PLP, as were many others: Davida Morris, Sean Brown, Jonathan Starlin, Mackay Dickerson, Tora Horton Parent. There were so many of us, Taylor Gill. And for the most part, most of us are no longer. Most of us, probably feel how Taj feels, right? I thought that would change. And this is why I always tell people it's not about age, young people or old people, it's about mindset. I think we forget that David Burke is the youngest premier we've ever had. And you would have expected more as far as it relates to attracting young people. Um, I said last night at our pizza party for TDH that, whether you liked him or not, Dr. Brown had a way of bringing people in and engaging people regardless of age. Dr. Ewart Brown had a way of, he and Colonel Birch were not tight. Colonel Birch was a Dame Jennifer, best friend basically. And he said, look, I want people who could get the job done. Colonel Birch fell out with the Parent Chief brothers because not Colonel Birch, Premier Dr. Brown, and took him out of his cabinet. Glenn Blakeney was not a Dr. Ewart Brown person, and Dr. Brown appointed him as a minister because Dr. Brown was all about surrounding himself with the best team. We got a different feeling today from the youngest premier we've ever had. I was talking to a PLP stalwart the other night, and many of the young people, young MPs, and all these people weren't around the party when I was young. They didn't help build anything. They seem to be friends of the premier that he's brought on board, whether frat brothers or not. My question is, based on what Taj mentioned in the comments here, he says, I don't think the issue has ever been about young people joining the PLP, but the issue is retention. As a person who Taj is speaking of me as well, they couldn't retain me. How do you retain young people like a Taj who has interest, or attract some of the Bermuda Youth Connect people that may be interested? I mean, you think of the premier. I mean, the utmost disrespect was going on Bermuda Youth Connect's YouTube channel, having a conversation, and then a day later or 2 days later calling the election. I mean, everything seems to be opposite of engaging young people in his actions.
Well, look, I take your point that you said everybody in politics is not going to agree all the time. Me and the premier, I think he'll be the first to tell you we don't agree all the time, but we do have a same goal and motive, and that is to, number one, ensure that we are in the things that we're doing, the policies we're bringing up, we're improving the people's condition. I don't agree with the premier on many issues 100%, but I do think that we both understand that the ends just must justify the means. In terms of people in cabinet and ministers and things like that, everybody has their own volition to run. So I don't, and the people who choose the candidates are the branches. So I don't think that no, I don't know if the premier has any. Don't think that the premier has any say over that. But yeah, I think that of course we want to ensure that when people come into the room, that they see a space for them and they want to contribute. So if we want to retain people, we have to make sure that they feel comfortable, they feel welcome, and also they see a path for themselves wherever they want to move and go. But look, we have an aging population, we have an aging party's population, and my job is to bridge that connection between young people and the Bermuda Progressive Labour Party. And it's obviously a challenging job. And of course, anytime you're an incumbent government, it gets even more difficult to bring people into the process because you're the government, and everybody, of course, wants to lay blame or not even just lay blame, but you're always heavily under attack. So, of course, it could be difficult to run the minutiae of the party and the government at the same time. But nonetheless, of course, we want to continue to retain young people. Last time I came here, I said that I don't want to sheep herd young people into the party and just get them to vote for the PLP and just drop them until the next election. We want to continue. We want to ensure that they deepen their political propensity and awareness, and that's my mission. And I think we're doing a pretty good job right now.
All right, thank you for that. We have a question. Charles H. Jeffs II, he's asking, do we have any stats on the ages of those who registered to vote and how many actually voted in the general election?
Well, I don't think we have any statistics about who and the breakdown of the demographics of who voted. Maybe if we had exit polling in Bermuda. In terms of, can you put the question back up, the first part? Stats on who would. I know that for people who are registered to vote, the younger the demographic, the less registered voters. So you can, I thought I saw make up somewhere of where the non-registered voters, as you go up, it's less and less. So it's our young people that are not registered. Progressive Minds during the election spearheaded the voter registration drive at the Bermuda College. So we are trying to do something like that, not just during an election, and that's something that we had trying to get to Bermuda College more often to engage with their students. But what we are trying to do is make sure that it is reoccurring. So it's not just during the election. We're trying to ensure that we have quarterly or semesterly voter registration drives and engagement with the students at Bermuda College.
Let me ask you something. What keeps you involved? Because again, as you see, I mentioned some names, Taj left. People are quick to leave spaces that they don't feel they're wanted or welcomed and so on. Why do you believe that you can make that change from within?
Because I have proof that I've done it. I'm different than Taj. Taj is different than me. We have different styles of doing things, and I have proven that I can be influential, like I said, and not influenced. I've proven that whether it's with the platform or with many other things, that I can build consensus, not just with people within the party, but people outside the party. And I continue to do it. So that's the difference between us, is that number one, the timing is different as well. And like I said, I'm a different person. I have a different tactics. So what Taj did, I don't know what Taj did or the entirety of his experience, but I'm different than Taj. And my proof is in the pudding. I continue to work within the party and get many things that I would like done. And those things that I don't like, I voice my opinion that I don't like it. And I work to change it. So that's the difference between us, I guess. But I think what makes us the same is that most of me and Taj probably agree on the same policies and whatnot, but we just have a different style of going.
Okay, fair enough. Emily Gail Dill says, MP Dill says, Shomari, thank you for your vision, commitment, and passion. We appreciate you. We've got 6% young votes, says Alexander C.D. Abbott. We've got internal stats. Yes, the parties have that, says Boo and Chill. Ms. Ellen Kate Horton says a lot of it is lip service. Could I respond to any of this?
Ms. Ellen K. Horton, I hope you're having a good morning.
Oh, okay. Taj Domville Autobridge says the PLP only seems interested in the young people it can indoctrinate. Free and independent thinkers not celebrated. No, let me address this, and I'll get you to speak on that. There's a thing that goes on in companies now. A lot of businesses and organizations like to say that we don't just hire based on talent. We hire based on how will this person fit our culture. What that really means, and I'm speaking as someone who employs people, what it really means is people who are not going to rock the boat, right? Like, we want people. No, I'm totally different. Mia will tell you, no, we're not doing that. You need to be yourself. Like, let me be clear with you. If we think the same, I probably don't want you on my team. That's just the way I am. Terry thinks I got off on stuff. Like, I am comfortable being on an island by myself in my thoughts if I believe it's morally right. So in response to this, how do we get, people to believe that what you're saying is actually, no, I'm not indoctrinated. Young people join the PLP are not indoctrinated. We have our own minds and our ways of doing stuff. How do we change that? Because as long as there are some young people who think like this, it's going to be harder to attract them.
I think that if anybody thinks I'm indoctrinated or something like that, you probably don't know me. But look, I joined the PLP on my own volition. Wasn't indoctrinated. I wasn't asked to join. I joined because, first and foremost, I think that everybody in the PLP should have progressive values and labor values. I don't think that everybody should think the same, but we should all have a similar ideology in which we can all work towards. And some people don't have that ideology. You can't join the PLP and talking about we should be conservative. and we should, have an ideology that's contrary to what the founding fathers built out or laid out. That's going to cause members who are going to be, how could I say it, are going to be protective of the institution. They're going to say, well, this isn't what we stand for. We're not conservative. We're not libertarian. We're not whatever ideology. This is the ideology that we espouse to and that we stand for. So in politics, I think it's a little different. Yes, we want people who are outspoken, who do things differently, but we want them to be in the same wheelhouse of what the ideology and the goals of the party are. And look, I don't agree with everything that the party does. I say it all the time. My job is to bring up about 21st century progressive labor values. What was progressive in 1963 when the party was formed is not necessarily what's progressive today. So every organization has to go through this, where people come in and they bring about a different perspective. They say, oh, we can do things differently, and they get pushback. This is what happens all the time. And that word of contention that continues to happen until you see a clear winner of what path is going to the organization or country or whatever it's going to take. So during your generation, Mr. Hartman, it may not have been the timing was not right, or but in this generation now we see that the timing is right. We see
what generation you in? Don't age me. What, you Generation Z?
No, I'm 28. I'm not that young.
You're Myers age. You're a poppy, man. I'm not saying you look old. I'm not.
I look good. I know I look good. I've got gray hairs.
Very well. No, seriously. I don't think I knew you were in your 20s. So my apologies. Vuin Cho says respectfully, this is the fourth question about Taj. Well, maybe you should understand or go find something else to watch. I'm being very direct about you. If Taj is the one putting all the comments out there, then that's on him. I'm not telling Taj what to ask or not to ask. So watch something else if you don't appreciate me responding to him and asking questions from him. This show is probably not for you. Amari Simon says, the parties want to connect with people. They should use social media year-round instead of just election season. No, you're very active on social media as an individual, Shomari, and I think you have done a very good job on what do we call it? Twitter or X? Twitter X. But speak to that. Like, how is the branch Progressive Minds? Are they active, year round on social media, and how do they engage? Because you guys just had an event, right?
Yeah, we really need to try and grow our social media presence a bit more. We have had a little bit of difficulties with the election and everything because everybody was helping in the branches, but we want to start doing some more creative initiatives that we have. We have a new executive, so with the new executive team that's coming through, we have some new ideas and some people who are really dedicated to taking that social media presence on. So we can definitely look out to that. And it's a lot of things that I really want us to do in the media space in terms of communications, because the election started on February 19th, if you didn't know. So we really got to not just even election wise, but educational, just making sure that people are aware of whether it's the budget or any process that is going on in the government. We need to really ramp that up.
We've got Alan K. Horton says, one of the main goals of the party was independence. There's never talk about this. You mentioned that things have changed from, that time to this time, but this was one of the ultimate goals of the founders, and it is never discussed. It doesn't seem like there's any movement toward it. Is the Progressive Minds youth wing, is this one of something that you're focused on?
Well, I think this is something that the party has completely dropped the ball with. We have independence is a part of our constitution, the relentless pursuit of independence. And we have not relentlessly pursued it or talked about it at all. And I am a supporter of independence. I probably think that most of the members of the PLP are supporters of independence. And then maybe we should start bringing up and have conversations about it again. I remember it was a panel, at BIU some years ago talking about independence. Former Premier Alex Scott was on it. My friend Ryan Robinson, parent chief, was on it. It was still on YouTube. But we don't talk about it. And in a time right now where the world is uncertain, you were just talking about Trump and his tariffs. Maybe independence might be a better suit for us so that we can, Trump saying, we have to choose between China and the United States. Maybe independence could help us better make these decisions for ourselves instead of being attached to colonial overlords. But we have completely dropped the ball when it comes to independence. We're not fighting for it. No, we're not pursuing it. And we're not even taking very clear contradictions in our political system, like the denying of royal assent, and using those issues to push for independence. So we completely dropped the ball on that.
And again, it's something that, if of interest, the country can get. And about Teretal says, facts, TDH goes in. We might debate more than any political party. Absolutely. View and Chill says, I encourage everyone to read the report on sovereignty that was released recently. We've got Michael Bregman says, young people need to get involved, join a branch, become a rep. The members direct the party, and you cannot rely on others to advocate for young people. I disagree. I completely disagree. At the end of the day, I think what we need to do is understand that we can get young people interested in politics without being interested in joining a political party. One thing that I think politics in Bermuda has blinded us from is we think the only way to make political change is to be involved politically. No, we benefited from more activism than we did politics previously. Remember, some of the people we love to quote: Malcolm X, Dr. King, Nelson Mandela 1, because 2 was very different. He was very different when he came out, but they were activists. They weren't politicians. So I want us to understand we don't need to be politically involved to make a difference. It helps, right? But we don't need to be. I think what the goal should be is to, just Mia's question earlier, just get young people to understand politics. 1, impacts them. 2, they have a role to play. And 3, just don't dismiss it. Shomari, how can people who are interested or want to learn more, like, are Progressive Mind meetings open to the general public to learn more? Like, how can they go about learning more about the work that you guys are doing, and if they want to get involved?
So next week, May 6th, on Tuesday, at Alaska Hall, we will have our next general meeting. We're going to be talking about basically taking something from an idea to legislation, and how, and in many ways that could happen. So this is probably a very perfect time to plug it. But how does that happen? Do you have to be a legislator? Can you be a part of a pressure group that pushes a particular issue? There are many ways to take something from an idea at a kitchen table to legislation at the House of Assembly. So that is something that we want to talk about.
Real quickly, as well, we call it the youth wing, but what's the ages to be involved in the Progressive Minds, and how does one become eligible?
Well, our meetings are open to anyone under the age of 35. You don't have to be a member, but you do have to be under the age of 35. Some of our meetings, when we do have wider consensus building, whether it was on the absentee voting, we did open it up to everyone. We opened up our women's reproductive rights meeting. We opened that up to everyone just so we can get, a larger feel of what people are feeling. But if you follow our Instagram, plp.progressiveminds, you get all the information about our meetings. And like I said, next meeting is May 6th. And we will be discussing taking something from an idea, from idea to legislation. All the ways that can work, whether it's the legislative process or pressure groups or whatever it is.
Thank you for the conversation. I appreciate that you're always open to having discussion. I think you represent the organization and yourself very well. I may disagree with pretty much, not everything, but quite a few things that the Premier does and how he does it. But one of the things I encourage people to do is something that I stopped doing many years ago. I did it once this year because everybody on Twitter was telling me I got to do it. And I said, let me listen to him for once. And I listened to the House of Assembly, but I'll repeat why I tell people do it. many of the things that you see in the news or you hear in the news is not the full context. And I think if people got the full context of what's being said, our opinions may differ a bit. I know what I'd like to see in Bermuda. My hope is that the Bermuda Progressive Labour Party can deliver it. And my hope is that young people like yourselves can push the party in the direction that many of you see it go. All the best to you. I'm losing my hair, so I don't think I have the capacity to actually even be politically involved. But I do appreciate people like
my hair's getting great.
At 28. That's pretty. That's wisdom, bro. Wisdom. But no, I say this respectfully. I do appreciate that you guys there, but my hope is that the party, just because something happened a long time ago, doesn't mean that it shouldn't be exist today. Just because it was 20, 30, 40 years ago doesn't mean we shouldn't still be considering it. I think we let go of things just because I'm pretty upset that you all are discriminating against myself and Mia, and it's 35 and under, and we can't come. But
Speak for yourself, Jamal.
to attend. Yeah, I wanted to show up May 6th, but I really do hope that people who are not members show up. I want them to show up. I want them to feel included and that their voice matters as well. So thank you for stopping by, and don't be a stranger. I mean, I'm happy to have these conversations with yourself and different members of the party. Through these conversations, my hope is that we can come have some sort of solutions and find a way forward. All right.
Yep, that's the goal, to find solutions and find a way forward. And thank you again for having me, and congratulations on your banquet. I feel like every time I come here, you're celebrating something, but I guess that's just the nature of things around here. You guys are always celebrating something. And
man, I feel like we don't celebrate enough, but thank you for that. I appreciate you. That means I'm not as grumpy as people make me seem. Have a great one. All right, folks. Shomari, Talbot-Woolridge, if you appreciated the conversation, please, whatever platform you're on, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We're going to take a final break. Folks, this is a Bermuda Trivia Remember When Daily Play question. I want to see how many of you know Bermuda? How many of you know Bermuda? Stick with us. Mia, you gotta get this.
April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Children depend on every single caring adult in our community to make sure they are safe from sexual harm. Keeping them safe not just in April, but every day. Whether you're a parent, a guardian, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, or a caregiver, we ask that you take just 3 hours out of your busy schedule to learn what you can do to make sure the precious children in your life are protected. They are worth it. Join the SCARS certified adults by simply visiting our website to sign up for a free SCARS training session. Learn about online and body safety, how to protect them, and how to respond if they are harmed. This information is vital to their well-being and their future. Because they are children, it is our responsibility, Bermuda, to protect them. Visit scarsbermuda.com and learn what you can do to help the child in your life stay safe.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Nova's Ark Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
BAC's new color showroom is now open. Throughout April, for every $50 spent, your name will be entered to win great raffle prizes. Come learn from BAC, where luxury meets affordability.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to Shomari Talbot-Woolridge for stopping by this morning. Big up to him and young people who are doing their thing in the political space. I've been there. I know how rough it is, but hey, thick skin is what it takes. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical Wells Lenders, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can do this with you on a regular basis. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, Mia, audience, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So remember when.
Okay.
What year did Trimmingham's close? What was that?
2001? 2003? It was around the 90s. 2010.
It was not 2003. It was not 1995.
The 2000s.
It was the 2000s. Correct, Nicole Walker. It was 2005.
I don't want to remember that. That makes me sad.
Yeah. Ah, man, 2009. No, 2005. You know what's crazy? I remember working in Bermuda tourism, and I would travel all over for Bermuda. And everywhere I went, oh, so sad that Trinidad. I used to go to Bermuda just to shop at Trinidad. And I was like, people used to come to Bermuda just to shop at like Trinidad. I didn't get it, right? That's how much of a staple it was in Bermuda.
So special, special place.
Yeah. We would talk about retail, so it was only right for the retail question, right? But yeah, Trimmingham's, young people won't know. It was a staple. I remember I would, I was young, so I would go down there and go on the, clearance aisle to get my Christmas gifts for my family.
Of course. It was iconic.
Yeah.
Smiths, and I mean, I don't know. I agree. I think Julie says just here, it hasn't been 20 years. It hasn't been the same. Yeah. I couldn't agree with that more.
Trimmingham's leaving changed Bermuda in so many ways. Yeah. Like I said earlier, 220 jobs lost. That's a lot of jobs.
A lot. And so second to the insurance industry, retail is actually the second biggest employer. I don't know if everybody knows that, but
really?
Yeah. Retail is the second biggest employer after insurance. So, wow.
Well, yeah, folks, big thing. Well, let's wrap it up. Final thoughts on the conversation about retail, and then the conversation with Shomari, Talbot-Woolridge.
Okay, so it's interesting because I think they actually both dovetailed together. So from a perspective of retail and how can we actually improve kind of our relationships with everybody outside of the United States to get our goods in. And then, of course, creating more food and agricultural security. That's something that's actually discussed quite a lot. And we just had the Ag Show, so it's kind of perfect timing to have this discussion with Tony bringing all of these things up. And then also, really, how can, in my opinion, I think there are not enough job avenues for young people, and retail is a really great space for people to get their first job, get their feet wet, get confidence, just really have self-awareness, learn a lot of life skills. And so in order to empower the youth, so we're talking with, Shomari, of course, with Progressive Minds, in order to empower the youth and to give them more confidence and self-esteem, and maybe get involved and get out there and get more involved in politics, et cetera, or be in places where maybe you don't come from a house that's politically, things are talked about in politics, but you maybe come to a space and you're learning, and maybe people are talking to you about politics and talking about Bermuda. There needs to be more spaces where we're all together and you're empowering the youth through jobs. And in order to do that, we need to go back to what we said before and maybe relook at this kind of structure on how we tax retailers and local business in general, in order to then catapult to have more businesses. Because if I had more business, Jamel, I could hire more people.
Well, this is true. That's how it works. I mean, as far as retail space, I think there's a way to incentivize locals. We probably need to do an in-depth study as to what locals' desires are as far as retail.
Yeah.
I would love to see an in-depth study. I know people like to say variety and so on. But I'd love to get a bit deeper and see if whether it's government or the chamber or even retailers together just doing a study. That's what it is. I love the idea about loyalty programs. I love the ideas that some of the audience had this morning about different taxes, like only what was it, making point of sale tax. I love that stuff. As far as the conversation with Shomari, look, I don't have to agree with you to like you or think that you are a valuable asset to our community. I appreciate his courage and his willingness to get involved. I echo Miss Ellen K. Horton's comments here. She said, I'm happy that Shomari is active and hopefully can encourage others to be committed. I agree. It's not easy to get involved politically. It takes a lot of, you've got to have thick skin. So may more people get involved. And again, you don't have to get involved in the PLP. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like straight politics. Activism is a form where you can make a difference. So props to him. Thanks again. And I do wonder if any non-PLP members will go to their meeting May 6th. Obviously, Mia and I are banned. We're over 35, but
I'm only 34 and a half, Jamel.
Okay. All right. I thought you said you're in your 40s earlier when he was
in my 40s. I know. Retract.
I don't know. Yeah. I good luck to the PLP and Progressive Minds, and may the young people be a force to be reckoned with. Mia, you got some daily inspiration for the audience?
I do, actually. And again, it's reflecting on the Ag Show just happening, and then reflecting on Tony Thompson's comments in the article in the RG from yesterday regarding agriculture. So agriculture is our wisest pursuit because it will, in the end, contribute the most real wealth, good morals, and happiness.
I love that.
Me too. Thomas Jefferson.
All righty. Let's do it. Folks, we got to head out, but please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Mia Shomari. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.